letters, a paper plan, a tiny map. I measured windows with my breath and folded floors for maps. I whispered furniture into the dark and pressed my palm like proof, a blueprint of a future that was proof against the truth. This is Poppy's house, unfinished and small, a cardboard porch, a lullaby on my wall. I am the builder and the one who mourns. I am the woman who learns to hold the storms. The ring on my finger hummed a quiet, cruel alarm, a titanium whisper that my body lost its calm. I scanned the graphs for comfort and the numbers sang me wrong. I loved a room that never had a light, but loved it all along. I am not replacing, I am making foundations, stone plastering the cracks with the work of bone. If you ask me if I grieve for what I never held, I say I grieve the empty rooms where tiny footsteps dwelled. This is Poppy's house, half built in my chest, a paper roof, a promise folded into rest. I will rebuild brick by blunt, clumsy brick, till the walls can hold something and that stayed. So I press this test into a box and a petal turns to glass. I leave a space on the shelf where a future used to pass. This house is mine to keep and mine to make anew, a slow cathedral of hope for when the tenant comes to. You hand me platitudes like paper towels, quick and clean. At least for bandages, neat phrases with no seam. You're young, you got time, like a clock rewiring grief. You deliver tidy math when what I want is proof. You think your luck is wisdom and your sorrow is my cure. Your chorus of small comforts makes the cold feel more pure. Don't give me an at least, don't calendar my pain. I do not want your silvered lines to tidy up my rain. You did one loss and now you teach like you own the chart. One wreck does not make a doctor, one loss does not make you smart. Early, it's nature, it's fine. As if the demolition of my plans were some polite design. You tidy grief with phrases like you're folding laundry neat, but the house I built has rubble and your words are just more heat. Who made you my expert, counting tissue like advice? Are you inside my body reading calculus of life? Your empathy expiry date was 48 hours long. I want more than empty kindness and a singable shallow song. Do not hand me a checklist, do not offer easy charts. I want someone to sit in the mess and not negotiate my heart. One miscarriage the fucking handbook. Stop teaching me what to gain. Bring chrysanthemums, bring a hand, bring the patience of the room. Leave your at least in the coat room. Don't bring them to my tomb.
I watched you sink the ring before the sun was up. I saw the hope you carried in a ceramic cup. I saw the bags you hid beneath the office light, the tiny cotton dreams you kept out of sight. I heard you whisper to the air in the lift, a secret coronation, a 5-week gift. And I was proud to be the man standing next to the queen, even when the yes was a ghost on a screen. I can't fix the math or make the science right. I can't stop the shivers in the middle of the night, but I'll be the ground when the architecture falls. I'll be the silence between these four walls. I'm grieving for the ghost of her with you, but I'm the one holding the person who's pushed through. And I saw you start to fray, thinking the carrot just withered away. But I was at the door bringing the ingredients in, preparing the fuel so the renovation can begin. I'm roasting the veggies while you're counting the waves. I'm keeping the house while the sidle tech raves. I'm washing your hair when the strength isn't there, witnessing the ruins, just breathing the air. You think you're a failure and not it gone wrong, but I've watched you carry this weight for so long. You say you're not Poppy's mom yet, but I disagree. I've seen the mother you've already been to me. I'll be the ground
I sat with a paper cup and a decaf mocha, thinking I was fine. The screen warmed my hands, the world kept humming with its petty crimes. He didn't look at the picture, he didn't have to. He just said the words, "This is not viable," and the room folded, a quiet slip of birds. There was a number on a screen that used to feel like oxygen. Now it's a ledger, now it's cold, now it is what shrugs begin. Everything shattered in a second, like glass on a tiled floor. I built a life in corridor whispers, and he closed the hospital door. There is no silver lining here, no tidy paragraph of grace, just the sound of my own breath rearranging in an empty place. The biology lagged behind my heartbreak. Blood stayed late and shy, but beta felt like a verdict, while my body kept on trying. The loss is invisible and unbearable, a pain that has no name. It sits under clothes and emails and refuses any frame. I laugh at trash TV. A stupid advert makes me smile. For a second it's a nightmare, and then my lungs forget the while. The laugh becomes a gasp, the gagged air turns to crying. I am two rhythms at once, a grin and then a dying. Everything shattered in a second, like a photograph unglued. I'm learning to catalog the holes where I once lived in you. No hopeful epilogue, no chorus to make it right. Just this room and this hot water bag and the long, terrible night. They handed me a box of pills and a bill with antiseptic calm paper instructions like a manual for erect and tender arm. I keep the positive test in a drawer, a small accusing proof. I whisper to a tiny ghost and feel my whole body go aloof. I do not want a lesson. I do not want a cure. I want someone who understands that some hurts are just pure.
Through the finish line, the end of the struggle, the start of the light. I spent my life fearing the empty, the month after month of the not this time. But now I know a deeper kind of terror, the fear of the yes that doesn't know how to stay. The innocence is buried in the garden, and the next time I see that blue cross rise, it won't be a celebration. It'll be a hostage situation, because I've lost the luxury of the maybe, and I've traded my joy for a cold hard watch. It isn't the getting, it's the keeping, it's the waiting for the floor to give away. I am half of me and half of the one I love, but I'm terrified the math has gone wrong. What if the bridge is out forever? What if the miracle was just a song?
bleeding has stopped, the ritual is over, and the world looks back at me, clinical and dry. I'm checking the data, I'm searching the maps, trying to find where the impossible lies. They say you did it once, you can do it again, but they don't see the cracks in my marrow. They don't feel the paralyzing weight of a body that learned how to fail. Now I'm waiting for the screen to show me nothing, praying for the clear so I can start the ache. I'm terrified she was a one-time spark, a beautiful, cruel, and accidental mistake. What if the door only opened to mock me? What if the fountain has already run dry? I'm holding my breath for an empty womb so I can find the courage to try. It's the waiting for the floor to give away. Everyone warned me about the climb, no one told me about the stay. The lines are stained, the innocence is gone away. We used to look up, find you like light on a blur. Grainy miracle, a shadow that we learned to love. Today the room was quiet, the screen a plain and honest dark. And the doctor said the word we needed, said it like a kindly cut. Relief arrived in the shape of nothing, and I did not expect to breathe. My hands were empty, and my ribs finally had room. How strange to pray for both, for a heartbeat and for silence, to want a line to bloom and a line to end. My body told me two truths at once, and I could not hold them both. My blood still sang yes, the screen said no, and I could not make them meet. We wanted to see you whole on the glass, a quick and living proof. We practiced names and nappies and Sunday walks, but endings sometimes look like mercy, a last clean page of proof, and the empty screen, that strange blank blessing, let us start to breathe. Yet in the bathroom mirror, the cheap strip glowed the old false song, and that little light betrayed the rest of us. How strange to pray for both, for a heartbeat and for silence, to want a line to bloom and a line to end. My blood still sang yes. The screen said no, and nothing fit between. I held two worlds and neither comforted me when the truth was mean. I begged the numbers to quieten, to let me close the chapter clean, to stop the small ghost echoing in tests that read like lies. Do I stop the medicine and risk the maybe, or let the waiting be the answer? Every choice felt like erasing hope, every choice a kind of sacrifice. How strange to pray for both, for a heartbeat and for silence, to want a line to bloom and a line to end. My heart and my blood keep speaking when my womb has closed its door. I am learning how to hold the no, and how to want again for more. Not erasing, just clearing. Let the ground be ready to receive. Two weeks of waiting, like an ad you cannot close. Your calendar is a metronome, and your mouth is full of prose. You stock the pantry with small rights and lie awake with charts. You learn the language of the body like a script for broken hearts, and then the director calls cut and the credits do not roll. The sequel no one wanted opens with a hole. I do not want a franchise of this hurt, no reruns of the scream. Do not give me sequels in the margins of my dreams. One film was cruelty enough, one ending is enough. I will not buy a ticket to the same exhausted bluff. They tell you numbers are the proof, and still they shift their tune. You chase the math with superstition, you pray to every rune. A sack of ink on a screen becomes a noun you never named. You mourn the life you scheduled into flights you never claimed. There are people who will say it's early, it's nothing but a spark. There are people who will tell you to move on, to find the light in dark. But this is not a practice, this is not rehearsal time. This is the one and only show, and it broke the set and the rhyme. No franchise, no spin-offs, no bloody reprise. I will keep the credits private, and I will close my eyes. Let the projector die, let the auditorium sleep. I'll hold the things I loved in the dark and keep. found a line in the dark while sirens learned a new tune. The news feed bled through kitchen light and the city smelled of loom. There was a headline like a bruise and my body whispered yes. I planned a nursery in the margins while the world rehearsed distress. It felt obscene to love in that weather, to fold a cot while rockets woke. A tiny private miracle and a calendar that broke. There was a small war in my body and a big war out the door. Two separate kinds of violence that I could not ignore. My chest kept drafting treaties while the headlines wrote their claims. In the end, my flesh turned on a plan, and nothing stayed the same. Nothing stayed the same. The beta climbed like a promise while outside the skyline shook. I whispered songs into my sleeves and learned to read the look. Then the numbers faltered, slow as falling ash from some far place. My own anatomy turned colors I could not embrace. I am furious at my bones for failing what I dreamt. But this is not malice, not a trait my cells invent. My body is not guilty, it is only tired and small. A battlefield of chemistry that answers no one's call. There was a small war in my body and a big war on the street. Both kinds of ruin feel unfair and neither feel discreet. I am hurt, I am angry, I am mourning what I planned. But I do not blame the vessel that held me like a hand. We grieve the world and we grieve our rooms. We are allowed to do both. My body did not mean harm. It tried and it could not hold. I've got a hospital note tucked under my thumb, an out of office ghost that says I'll be back when I'm numb. I click and drag and answer the world with a half-sincere line. My inbox wants my labor, my body wants to decline. There's a hot water bag and a voicemail and a blue test in my drawer. There's a small dull ache behind the door. I am passively available, as if grief had business hours, as if sorrow could be scheduled and sadness had its powers. I fold myself into an email and sign with tender lies. I am functional and hollow, with quiet corporate eyes. smell of warm bread. You do not say the easy things, you sit and let me spread. The man I married is a quiet, hands-on kind of saint. He lays broth in bowls and his love bears no complaint. If I tally up the receipts for this demolition job, there's no refund for a life, no voucher, no good sob. But there is someone who will change my pad and bring a chair, and that's the only kind of miracle that ever feels fair. I am passively available, I keep the tone polite, I log every contraction like a spreadsheet through the night. If you call me brave, take the damn compliment and leave. I'm just surviving office hours and the slow unweaving. Don't give me a lease, don't stage me platitudes and a cue. Bring me soup, bring a towel, bring a silence that is true. They showed us the screen, a small, quiet, dark, a circle where we had sketched a life. We held the silence like a burnt match, and the word relief tasted like salt. Then I went home with a stick and a pulse, and the tiny window lit with a stubborn yes. My blood keeps saying yes, and my body says no. Cruel conversation between what is and what was hoped. My heart is full of pregnancies that never grew. I carry two truths, and neither comforts me. I learned the language of numbers to make sense of the ache. I taught women older than me what the charts meant. None of that steady the hollow where a hand would rest, or the shape of a future I practiced in my head. I kept asking the same machines for mercy, and the answers came back polite and blank. My blood keeps saying yes, and my body says no. Cruel conversation between what is and what was hoped. My heart is full of She says no.